I never said that. I said what is special that the fact that they do, right? And if you don't believe that millions, right? If you believe, if you no. I mean, if you believe that millions can memorize any book, right, around the world, show me evidence of that happening, right? A lot of people try to teach their children to memorize other books, try to teach them to memorize the Bible. Some people today, and you can see that not even children, old people, they try to memorize the entire Bible, but they can't. They get confused, right? The language of the Bible itself does not allow you. The Quran has a miraculous nature as well, of recitation, right? It has some sort of a rhythm that allows you also to memorize, right? So we're not making a claim that it's impossible for a child to memorize another book, but we're saying it's very difficult and highly probable for it to happen. So if you see a phenomena of millions of people doing it,
does not say
so
in the
can
Quran,
I finish the statement that I'm saying?
About memorizing, yeah?
Sure.
Does not say in the Quran, yeah, that you take one step to Allah, and Allah takes two. So
No, that's in the hadith, not in the Quran.
It's in the hadith, I guess. Is it hadith?
Yes.
Is it? Okay. But it's the same thing, it's saying the same thing then. You take one step, and Allah takes two. You take two, Allah takes four. Is that correct?
No.
Not exactly like that.
Not exactly like that, but the meaning is similar to what you're saying.
Did it not say something about if you start memorizing that ayat?
The meaning is
When you
similar.
memorize the ayat, you memorize one, Allah will give you the next one.
No.
Did it not say that? No?
The Quran says that the Quran is, Allah made it easy for memorization, which is clear. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ. Yeah.
Was it where in
It's Surah Hijr, I think. Hijr, chapter 15.
Is it a thing or is that right?
Chapter 15. Most likely. You can research it.
Al-Hijra.
Al-Hijr, yeah. Chapter 15. You'll probably find this. So, I don't know if we agree or disagree so far. Do we agree it's highly unlikely for...
Say probability for some books are hard than others, but to memorize.
What makes things harder? That's the question he's highlighting.
Length, density, complexity. But what I'm saying is, I don't understand what sets the Quran apart that is special to be memorized where any other book can.
Add in a little bit here.
Highly impossible.
What is easy to memorize, prose or poetry?
I haven't memorized anything myself, so I wouldn't know.
Poetry, because it has certain rhymes and meters. You can memorize it like this, it's easy. That's why children, when they memorize, what are they called? At a very early age, when they memorize, they're not called poems, poetry. When children at an early age, make them memorize something.
Nothing you mean?
Star, what are they?
Nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes. Why do we call them rhymes? Because they rhyme, children are able to use it to memorize. If you ask them to memorize a text written by a scientific professor on a particular, in cosmology, and ask them to memorize it, they will. Harder than one which is a rhyme.
Yeah, they would memorize it, perhaps not understand it.
But it will be difficult in terms of complexity and difficulty of memorizing rhyme, meters, and prose is different. Quran is not prose or is not poetry. It has a unique genre, and yet people are able to memorize it. Other people, even though they try because of this religious connection to memorize the Bible, the New Testament and Old Testament, they're not able to memorize as much as they want to. How many in your lifetime that you have met, they have memorized the whole of the Greek New Testament? It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to children, adults.
Me personally, I don't know many.
This is something that you can do. Do some research through the libraries, academic institutions, or even internet, on your phone, on your computer. What's the number of people who have memorized the entire Greek New Testament in Greek? It doesn't matter whether they're professors of Greek language, or a child, or an adult. How many of them? If they're not many in number, why is it difficult? One question. And secondly, is it because they don't consider it's important, or is it because which one they should memorize? Because they haven't got a particular one which they think is the one unique one.
If they had the same vision of memorizing it, they may not have the same
Sort of 15.
on memorizing it.
Surely we brought man into being.
All the way back.
Do you know why we consider it important? Because memorization of the text will preserve the text in your heart. You can change it on paper,
54,
You can
22.
transform it differently on your transcription. But when you have preserved in your heart to heart by mass community of people and they transmit from generation to generation, you will not be able to change it. So you can destroy whole of the Quran in printed media, in CDs, in DVDs,
Chapter 54,
any of
verse
this,
22.
digital media, whatever all of them. You can bring the Quran back from a 6-year-old the next moment you want to do that. Why? Because that's how the preservation of the Quran is. So my brother's point here is the Quran has a unique special feature of its divine authenticity in which God made it easy to remember so that it can be preserved also from generation to generation. How is it subjective? When you say subjective, if it wasn't objective, then you would say only some people memorize it.
Do you think every person who's tried to memorize it has memorized it?
Think of a number.
Or do you think somebody has tried it and gone,
Let me ask you to reflect. How many people do you think right now have memorized the Quran on planet Earth? Give me a rough estimate.
I don't know. Give me how many Muslims in the world?
1/4 of the world population or more.
I'd probably say, I guess, a quarter of them, maybe 10% of them.
So 10% of them, that's a large number, who memorized it. So isn't that showing something that's actually easy to remember? Otherwise you'd find maybe 100, 200, 1,000.
If it was that easy, why the other 90% not? If it was easy,
Maybe the other 90% are not making that effort.
maybe. We don't know. They could be making the effort.
We know they're not making that effort.
No, we don't know.
We do. Okay, fine.
Maybe.
You know, in London, there are several mosques around, and we can go to a mosque in Maghrib time or Isha time. These are sunset, after sunset, just a little bit later, in the early morning, early part of the night. The Quran is recited aloud, you'll find people listening to it. You can ask a certain number of people in the congregation, have you memorized the Quran? They say all of it. If they say no, ask them why not. You'll get your answer straight away. It's not that they say, okay, look, I tried and tried for 30 years.
Do you know of any people who've tried and failed?
Who tried and failed?
Okay, can you
Personally, no.
can you observe first how did they try? Okay, I
I
can
don't know how you taught it.
okay,
So
I can open a book, right? Read the book once, then I say I tried to memorize the book but I couldn't. Is this really trying? Right?
Alright, so do you know any people who've gone through the correct procedures, read it, how many times you have to,
I want to make
taught it from
I want to make a few points.
and it will not stick in their head.
I want to make a few points. First point is every Muslim must memorize a part of the Quran. Like for example, chapter 1, other verses to recite when they pray. Right? So every Muslim memorizes a part of the Quran. That is a fact, right? They cannot pray otherwise. Or except if they're new Muslim. Except if they're a new Muslim, right? Then they start to memorize, right? So take the time to memorize. But every Muslim, in order for you to pray, you must memorize a part of the Quran. So what is unique about the Quran? Not just the fact that they memorize. What you're thinking about in your mind, that you're reading a book in your language. I'm telling you, pick a book in a language that you don't understand, right? So when you don't understand something and you're saying, it's easy to memorize something that you understand. Because, right, you understand what you're saying. But if you don't understand what you're saying, it's much, much, much harder, right? So I'm giving you an example of a book in one of the hardest languages of the world, right, which is Arabic, in the Asian form of it, and it's being memorized. I'm not just giving you any language that is your language, that is easy, that... You understand what I'm trying to say? That's what makes it miraculous in a sense, right? So there is a claim in the Quran. What I'm trying to say is that there is a claim in the Quran, right, that the book is easy to memorize. This claim is proven in the physical reality. We can see this claim in the physical reality. And that gives us credibility for the Quran, right? Because it's not just a claim here or there. When he makes a claim, you see it. Yeah, you want to say something? When he makes a claim, we see it on the physical reality, right? So that gives it credibility.
I'm not sure if I agree with this, because if we go by, say, I don't know, say we go by that 10% that I said, if it was easy, which means easy, it's not, you can do it if you really try, it's easy. Why are the other 90% or even, alright, some people won't try, they'll give you that, some people probably don't care about it as much. Why is there not a bigger number then? Why is this not, say, 8 out of 10 Muslims know it off by heart? It's easy.
is 10% a small number?
Out of 100.
Especially if you look at the population of Muslims.
No, the 10% was out of the population. So the 10% is 10% of the population of Muslims.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So I'm telling
I
you,
would say that is
is that a small number?
yes.
Millions is a small number.
In terms of the entire population, yes, 10% of 100% is
Okay.
a small number.
The rest of the people, right? What we know as Muslims, the Quran is not obligatory to memorize, right? So they might not memorize because they don't want to memorize. The person who wants to memorize is the person who he believes this is the words of Allah, yeah? So he holds it in high esteem. So he wants to memorize it because of that, right? So the fact that many people are not memorized because it's not obligatory for you to memorize anyways in the first place.
What I'm saying is easy.
So
It's easy.
even if it's easy,
If it's easy, why is it not 9 out of 10 Muslims? If it's easy to
yes,
memorize.
99% of Muslims memorize it if it's obligatory to do so. If it's not obligatory to do so, the question should be, why would they memorize it? Not why wouldn't they memorize it? The default position is that you don't memorize. So you need a reason to memorize. So you got it mixed the other way, right? So if I want to memorize something, I must have a reason to memorize it. So as long as it's not obligatory in Islam to memorize the Quran, the people who do it, they do it out of voluntarily act because they hold it in high esteem more than the other people, right? That's why we have this population of 10% of Muslims memorizing. But this 10%, different ages, different languages, different places, proves that there is something about the Quran. It's not just an ordinary book that you memorize, right?
What other special features of the Quran that you want to share? So one, this is
Maybe try to move on to something else next.
Yeah, definitely. What we would like to come to is the existence of God, right? Because you said that you're agnostic, right? This is how you.
Try and answer your question I do have about not particularly to your religion, just the idea of creator.
Sure.
Is this creator has created absolutely everything. All that, furthest galaxies, all the rest of it, everything inside it. I don't know, I can't make the leap of why he cares about very minor details in religion. Say circumcision, where you pray, the amount of times you do it a day. I just think these would be very, very minuscule things to such a grand creator of everything. These very, very small details. Could I don't know what it's like in your religion, could decide if you burn in hell forever or
Okay.
go to heaven. I'm not saying murder, like him murder, I'm saying if you pray 4 times instead of 5, or you pray at the wrong time, or you're not circumcised. I don't understand why something that grand would care about such small issues.
So there's 2 reasons, right? First reason is this, so I want to ask you. If there is a person who is a manufacturer, right, or a creator of something, right, and he creates something, right, that you don't know how that something works. So he writes a manual where he gives you every specific detail of how that thing functions, right? And we have another manufacturer who made something, and he just told you one or 2 things about that thing that he made. Which one is a better manufacturer or creator?
No, I don't mean how to live your life.
I never spoken about how. I'm just giving a hypothetical example right now, right?
understood
2
that.
people who made something, you don't know how to operate that something, but one told you every specific detail of how you operate it, and another person who told you 1 or 2 things and he left you to deal with.
But that's
Which one is a better? It's a simple question.
yeah, but it's the wrong,
Which one?
it's the wrong, I don't know if I've asked the question, but it's not. It's not. He's telling.
I'll tell you how it links to the point if you answer the question.
Well, obviously, if you give more detail of how something works, that's better. But he's not. I'm not. The question I'm asking is not what he's telling us how the world works. What I'm saying is, why does he care? For example,
Good. If you allow me to finish, you'll understand. You'll understand that I was not talking about the world, right? I was talking about the functions of human beings. I was talking about what is good, what is bad for human beings. Human beings, by nature, they require guidance. That's why we have laws. That's why we have our parents teaching us things when we're young. We require guidance, right? God giving us specific guidance proves how great He is, not the opposite, right? So Allah giving us details of what is good to us, what is bad for us. Circumcision is good for you, that's why Allah made it. Told you to do it, right? Drinking alcohol is bad for you, that's why Allah forbade you from doing it. Eating pork is bad for you. Sorry?
a lot of things are bad for.
Show me one thing which is bad, right? That Islam tells you to do.
That's what you can do.
Yeah. Tell you to do. It orders you to do.
Orders you to do or allows you to do.
You can do anything bad out of your own will, right? I'm asking you, in the system, Islamic system, what does the Islamic system order you to do which is bad for you?
I don't know the.
So here, if you don't know, obviously we don't find anything, right? If we don't find anything that proves the Islamic system, to an extent, until you research and find something, the Islamic system is perfect. It's perfect. It doesn't have anything bad, right? So if Islam tells you things which are good for you, what is the problem in that? That makes Allah a greater creator, right? It makes him the greatest, as we call him, right? Because he gave you every specific detail. If he did not give you every specific detail, and you started to do something which is harming yourself, right? That proves the manufacturer left you without guidance.
Well, I don't know what I was thinking at this point. What is it about circumcision that's bad for you if you don't have it, good for you if you do have it?
Sure.
Because he created us with one.
Sure.
He designed us with foreskin and the demands us to cut it off. That's what I understand. Sure. Like little things like that. Not what's good or bad for our health, don't take drugs or get those things. But little details like designing you with something, then you immediately have to cut it off, and if you don't, you're very mad at you.
Nothing in Islam says that, though. Nothing in Islam says if you don't, I'll be very mad at you. And in fact, in the schools of thought, there's difference of opinion whether it's obligatory or not, right? So this is what you should look at, right? Is it obligatory? Is it not obligatory in Islam to begin with, right? But the main reason is what? If the Quran is truly coming from Allah, right? It's coming from God. It's coming from the Creator. The Creator, by definition, knows His creation. Do we agree? Whatever Creator created something knows His creation, right? So when the Creator, the one that has infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge, do you have infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge, right? We don't have infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge. So when Allah tells us something, we do it because we know it's good for us, because it's coming from the one who has infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge. The reason that we do it is many reasons. One of them is worship. Following the command of the Creator is worship to the Creator, right? The second one is because it's good for you. Definitely good for you, because it's coming from the All-Wise, right? So you're worshiping Him, you're being obedient, and you're surrendering yourself when you follow the commandments of the Creator, right? So God is giving you commandments to do. If Allah made everything simple for you, you don't have to do anything. What's the point of creating you in the first place? There will be things that you have to do, right? As a form of obedience, as a form of connecting with the Creator, as a form of being spiritually fulfilled, right? So is that the problem? Your problem with the Creator?
What problem is that? Create that small
I'll just add something to it. You were basically saying one very minor issues lead people to eternal damnation and suffering in hellfire. But that's not what we say that will be in everlasting hellfire. If there are people who are certain commands, you need to understand what commands this came under discussion. When it took be absolutely forbidden, whether it's simply saying, okay, you can do it as a dislike. The levels of categories of absolutely mandatory to absolutely forbidden, and in between there are dislike, recommended, and permissible. There are 5 categories. Legislation from God comes in the 5 categories. One end is absolutely obligatory for everyone to do, mandatory. The other extreme is totally forbidden. You have to abstain from doing that. In the middle is, which is called permissible. It doesn't matter whether you do or not do it. And in between there's one which is recommended, and other is which is disliked. So if it's something like, for example, someone couldn't do circumcision for medical reasons or he's scared or whatever, it's not going to put them in hellfire for eternity. What puts people in hellfire for eternity are the major crimes God has told us about, associating partner with God. If you did not repent from it and ask forgiveness from it, and you died on that state, this is a sin that God doesn't forgive. But other crimes against God, He says He will forgive if you repent from it. He will forgive you. So it is not that these major things like, instead of praying 5 times a day, you prayed 4, as you said, that will lead you to hellfire for eternity. No, it may be that you were physically unable to, you were mentally unable to. God is merciful. He doesn't burden us something that we cannot bear. So if someone is not able to pray 5 times because there is a genuine reason they're unable to, then God is merciful and God is kind and God is just. But if somebody does that routinely, then he's committing a sin. But it doesn't mean this sin will make them into hellfire for eternity. No, we are told in Islam that because of their belief in Allah is the only one worthy of worship, alone worthy of worship, and they worship and submitted and surrendered their will to Allah and followed the Prophet, eventually, after all this time of punishment, depending on how long they need to be purified for that sin they have done, they will finally return at one point to paradise in Jannah to live eternally. Think about it. If you have an eternal life in paradise and you get punished for one year, 1,000 years, 1 billion years, 1 billion years compared to eternity is nothing. So I'm not saying you'll be punished 1 billion years. I'm saying eventually, after you're cleansing from your things that you did, God will cleanse you with His punishment. He will purify you, because God is just. Okay? If He decides to forgive, that's up to Him. But if He does punish you, eventually, because you said La ilaha illallah, you will return. This is the key to paradise. You will return to paradise. This is God's promise. So these minor things that you're saying, we don't believe that leads people to eternal hellfire. That's not the category of... Yeah, because God has given you a system in which He asks you to do something and to abstain from doing something. Were you really a person that really believed and abided by it? Did you really obey it? If you work for a company and the company says, you know what, I want you to do this transaction, and you just sit there and you make your own money and you don't do any work. At the end of the day, do you expect your company to keep you in your job and to also give you your salaries?
If they demanded I walk a certain way and then I didn't do it, I had to walk in this car in a certain way and I took 1 foot out of line, just purely because they told me to.
Not like that.
Right? If I got sacked, then I would say that's unjust.
No, if it's like
Not
this.
like not
Let me give you an
stealing from the company.
Let me give you an example. Okay, now there are several deals to make. Okay, one deal will make profit, 500% profit. Another deal will make you loss, and you keep taking the wrong deal, making the company lose. Right? You do that consistently. Do you expect your employer to keep you on your job and to give you a bonus and pay your salary? You don't expect that, do you? You don't.
No, I don't think.
You don't expect any employer to do that. In fact, that would be a very unjust employer, very unwise employer. So the Creator also gave us legislation. So He wants us to do and avoid the don'ts as best as we can. Now, if you keep on doing what you're supposed to avoid it, and you willingly persist on doing that, why are you expecting that the Creator is going to say, I'm not going to punish you for that. I'm not going to somehow make you accountable for it.
So, do you think
about, sorry to interrupt, think about it like this, because you're thinking about it in a different way. Think about hitting someone, maiming someone, breaking their legs, making them disabled. And you do it consistently, and you expect the society to say, that's all right, we're not going to punish you. It's all right, carry on doing that.
No, I don't think that's the same as demanding. Well,
look,
maybe not demanding.
Think about it. Killing and breaking the legs. It's a huge difference. Killing is a grave crime. Breaking the legs is not as killing. So you keep on breaking someone's legs and arms and tooth and the nose and ears and eyes, but you don't kill them. And you don't expect the societal order to somehow... We're talking about the judges, the crime and criminal system, and they would say, it's all right, what's your name?
Joe.
Joe, Joe, it's all right, it's okay, we're not going to punish you for that, it's all right, it's just a minor crime, it's a trivial thing. You don't expect that to happen. Why? You say, even this thing is important.
But why I would get that, say we go back to the company, the boss. If your boss said to you, just purely because he told you to, because he pays your wages, you have to look out that window 5 times a day, right? And if you don't, then I'll sack you. Is that just? Okay. It doesn't.
What's the question, sorry?
He's saying,
if your employer tells you to look at the window 5 times a day, if that was your job that you actually were...
No, it wasn't. It was just purely because you paid my wages and you told me
if that was part of your job description, that you will have to look 5 times in the window, then they have the absolute right to reprimand you or not pay you and so on and punish you, because that was your job you're supposed to do.
If in the beginning of the job, right, you made a contract with your employer, yeah, and in that contract you agreed that everything the employer orders you to do, right, which is job specific in the field of the job in the hour times, you will do. Then it's just because you made a contract with your employer that you will abide by the commands of your employer. If you didn't make a contract with your employer, that's a different story. If you made a contract with your employer, yes, you have to abide by it, and it's just, right? Because you're getting paid for these hours. You're following because you're getting something in return, right? You're not just following for the sake of following, are you? Or you will just walk away and leave your employer, right? So you are hired to do something. He is your employer. You get paid for your working hours. He told you to do something, and you agreed that you will do whatever he orders you to do. Yes, it's just. Do you think that people should not be punished at all? Is this your point of view? Is this your worldview?
I think he gets the point. That's fine.
I think my point is, why does I'm thinking, I said I personally don't believe in God, but I see how big space, galaxies, all these kind of things, quantum mechanics, all this kind of stuff. He would have, if he is real, he would have created, designed, and everything. I don't understand. The leap I can't make is why he cares very trivial human matters when all this, he's designed and made all this, he has this all going on. It seems great, far greater than the should.
Okay, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or if God, let's say just God, right? If God cares, really deeply cares about what every simple person does in this planet, right? If I'm going to kill you and God kills, he said don't kill, right? Will he not stop me? So I'm saying if God really, as you say, so much cares about every little details of what humans do.
I understand why
right? So I'm telling you the difference between the two words of you. God told you what to do. He does not observe every second of what you do and stop you if you do something bad. Because this life is a test, right? This life that we live in the Muslim view, is a test, right? So obviously you will do bad things and you will do good things, right? So what God did is, that's all what he did. This is the good, this is the bad. Abide by the good, leave the bad. There will be accountability, the end of the test, there will be a test, right? When the test is done, you will have your results, right? This is good, this is bad. So it's not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, when do you scratch your nose, when do you do this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stops you. If he cares, he will stop you, he can make you disappear, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, because he is the best manufacturer, he is the best creator, right? He is the creator of everything. He will not be a good creator if he didn't tell you what is good for you to do and what is not good for you to do. You understand the difference between the two?
One of the points that you need to realize, in Islam, we consider God one of the very important attributes of people, Rabb. Rabb is someone who creates, shapes, nourishes, looks after. It's like someone, if you are a Rabb, lord of a house, you look after the house. You're the caretaker. You're responsible. You want to make sure things function well. You want to make sure that everything's alright. You provide provisions that's necessary to maintain the order and the requirements there. Right? God is not just a creator, an abstract entity like a deism type. God. He's our caretaker. He's one who is our Lord, our Master, our Judge, who creates and guides and nourishes and looks after and takes care of. That's who God is. It's not that he just created and left it like, who cares, whatever. Look at many people believe in deist type of God, where they believe God created and is away from the creation. He doesn't care what about it. No. God, he maintains his creation. He looks after them because he is a kind and just creator. So if, for example, someone asks for like, oh, I need some help and so on, are you saying God shouldn't listen? God listens. Maybe the answer comes in different ways, but God will listen to people's prayers. It doesn't matter if you are the one in the part of a cosmos where, far away in a different galaxies, God also will listen to you. Because he considers, this is point one. Point number two, He ennobled human beings out of every other creation. He made human beings a worthy, a very noble creation, a very specifically distinct creation, giving them certain faculties over others. As you know from the difference between humans and animals, there are certain things which are different between us, right? So he created us, given us certain roles and responsibilities, and also the interaction that he has with us. So you can't just say, God, why is God, listening to everything or making sure everything is... Do you know that we believe in 2 recorders, here and here, records all our actions, good and bad, so that in the day of judgment, not only the representative, you will see it yourself. Just like now we can see, look at the recordings on a camera, you can see back what you've done as an evidence of what happened. Even your hands and your legs will testify. Your body part will testify. Yes, this man went there and he did this oppression, this evil, and this wrong. Okay, so these things you might want. Okay, like no one knew. You know what? You saw this woman there on this alleyway, and you raped her. No one saw it. There was no camera. And you think you got away with it? It's recorded. You will see it's recorded. Your hands, your legs, your organs will testify that this is what you have done. This is to make sure justice is done and implemented, because justice is an important key aspect in our life and in the whole paradigm of this universe God has created. God is just and He wants justice to be done. So when we are going to be accountable for what we have done and so on and so forth, it's not just saying, oh, I didn't do it. Oh, no, I haven't done it. Who was there? No one saw it. There will be witnesses. There will be your eyes, your hands, your legs, your body will testify against you and what you've done. And the angels who are recording the good and the bad, they will say this is what you've done. So you have no excuse in the day of judgment to get away with the evil that you have done. Not saying you personally, the evil people when they're doing the evil, to get away with it. That is why these concepts will make us understand that it's very important to live a life in which we are constantly watched and observed, so that you live a life of humility. That even something within yourself, greed maybe part of power hungriness, or I want to overpower someone, I want to bully someone, I want to rape someone, I want to kill someone. This is your own greed and selfishness and your desires to overtake others unjustly. Maybe this understanding will stop you from doing that. And not only that, this is one thing in place. Physically itself, in Islamic society, there are laws in place to prevent and restrict and to deal with these people, what we call Sharia. Now you realize why Sharia is there. It's to protect the society. So if someone is going to kill someone, it's not like, oh, you're going to be in jail for 2 days and that's it. No, your life will be taken away. Or there are other options. If the victim's family wants to forgive you, it's up to them. But generally, your life will be taken away if you kill someone. You'll be thinking twice, oh, if I kill someone, my life will be killed, so I won't be able to enjoy what I want to do in the first place. So there are a lot of preventative deterrents in Islamic law to ensure the society functions and thrives in harmony. And that is why one thing I would like to advise you to study the early Islamic history, and you will see how was the society functioned. Even if you had a few decades, maybe 100 years ago in Saudi Arabia, this is historical records.